Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Brock's Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of January 18th, 2017. Pretty sizable week this week for me, so let's get right into it. First up, we have Aquaman 15. I'm all caught up, so yeah, the great stuff coming from Aquaman. This looks like to be the last, I think, issue for the Deluge, I can never pronounce it, story arc, but really solid stuff, so excited for it. Next up, we have the second part of Rooftops, which is in Batman 15. It's kind of a Batman and Catwoman spend a night together before, she has to go or something, so off to jail, I think. But yeah, I really enjoyed that first part of that story arc, or two-issue story thing, which DC's been doing. They kind of have this big chunk, this story arc story, and they kind of break it up with a small one-shot or two-issue story. So I think that's really good pacing for the books. But really enjoyed that last issue, so can't wait for this one. Next up, we have Descender number 18. Really enjoying Descender. Good stuff from Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. Curious to see where it goes. It's one of those books that I read single issue, but I think I would probably get a lot more enjoyment out of it in collected form. But most likely I will snag the trades up at some point and reread them. Next up, we have Divinity 3, Arik, the Son of the Revolution. This is part of the Stalin-verse stuff coming from Valiant and Divinity 3. I enjoyed the Divinity 3 Stalin-verse main book, and well as the Comrade Bloodshot. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Exo Manowar in this Stalin-verse. Next up, for another one from Valiant, we have Generation Zero number 6. This book's been okay. I've been enjoying it. It's interesting enough. It's not horrible. It's not great. It's just a fair story altogether, about just a bunch of ragtag psyops, superhero people in the Valiant universe, helping this one specific girl out in this weird town. So, yeah. Next up, we have Green Arrow number 15. We're continuing the Emerald Outlaw story arc. We have, he's an outlaw now versus a vigilante. I don't know. Green Arrow's been really good. I've been enjoying it, so I do recommend you check it out. The first trade is out of Green Arrow, so for those of you that were holding off, I would recommend going and snagging that up. Next up, we have Green Lanterns number 15, A Day in the Life. So this looks like it's one of those break-in story arc books. So I'm curious to see what that one's about. Next up, we have another Valiant book, and that's Harbinger Renegades number 3. This is bringing back the Harbinger team. So I like the Harbinger team. I'm curious to see where they're going with how the Valiant universe is currently. So, yeah. Next up, we have Harley Quinn number 12, continuing the Joker Loves Harley story arc. In the last issue, Red Tool and Joker met, and then Red Tool and Joker kind of were sitting on a park bench at the end. So, we'll see where that goes. Next up, we have the tie-in issue for Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, and that's Justice League 13. This is the tie-in issue. If you can't tell from what's going on the cover, the Eclipso is kind of the coming back. Maxwell Lord Maxwell Lord has uncovered the Eclipso diamond, or the Black Diamond. And basically is using that now to take control of the entire Justice League. So, curious to see if the Suicide Squad can get out of that one. Next up, we have Justice League of America, The Ray Rebirth number 1. I read so far the Atom and Vixen one-shots have come out, and The Ray is the third one out of 4. Curious to see what they're going to do with Ray. There was a short miniseries during the New 52 of that featured the Ray, which I enjoyed. And for the most part, the characters kind of just disappeared. Sorry. Long day. But yeah, so curious to see where that takes us. Next up, we have Justice League versus Suicide Squad number 5. As I said before, everybody's possessed by the Black Diamond and Eclipso. Woo! So let's see how everything unveils in issue 5. Issue 6 is out next week, so we're finishing up. I mean, 6 weeks and we're done with a kind of event book, and that's really, really awesome. DC's done an amazing job being on time with this. The tie-in issues have been great. You don't necessarily have to read them, but they do add a little bit to the main story, which is good in event books. It doesn't necessarily need to be something that really affects the story, but it needs to be something that adds to it. So next up we have Lucifer number 14. I've been enjoying it so far. 13 issues in. It's, keep reading it. Next up is Manifest Destiny number 25. Yes, Manifest Destiny finally hits the 25th issue. Can't wait to read it. It's awesome, awesome stuff. If you have not checked out Manifest Destiny, I do highly recommend you go pick up the first trade. I think it's Flora and Fauna is the title of that volume, number 1. But just really, really cool stuff. Kind of about a different telling of the Lewis and Clark trek across the United States. But solid book. Next up we have Suicide Squad, Most Wanted, El Diablo and Amanda Waller, 6 of 6. So this miniseries is finally ending. I've been enjoying the Most Wanted stuff. It's been really cool to kind of see solo stories from the Suicide Squad characters. So it adds a little bit to the overall book. Excuse me. The main book overall, because you get these backstories of individual characters and what they're doing to basically work off their sentence or whatever else, like origins and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed those that little miniseries. Next up we're continuing the Multiplicity story arc in Superman 15, and yes, that is Superman holding a baby bunny Captain Carrot. So we'll see. Next up is Superpowers 3 of 6. Just a fun little quirky book. It's for kids, but hey, I'm an adult and I read it, and it's awesome stuff. And finally, on the pull list, I have Trinity number 5. If you haven't checked out Trinity yet, I do recommend it. It is a great series based on the current Batman and Wonder Woman and the Superman from the convergence, brought forward convergence Superman, kind of learning to be at the Trinity, and kind of an adventure that they're having together. Really, really solid book. So that's it for the pull list. I did pick up some variants this week, and they are as follows. Aquaman 15 had a pretty sniffy variant there with Black Manta standing over Aquaman. We actually got shorted our copies of the Batman 14 variant last week, and normally I haven't been picking up the Tim sales, but when they have to do with like Catwoman and Batman, I'll normally snag it up, so I snagged that one. Next up we have Green Lanterns number 15. I'm going to probably be cutting some of these variants down a little bit, but for the most part they're fun to get. Next up we have the one for Harley Quinn, and it's a funny one with Joker kicking a fire hydrant, who was a Batman snowman but ends up stubbing his toe. Next up is the Justice League Yannicka Paquette variant. Pretty cool variant there. Some people don't like his art style. I'm perfectly fine with it. But yeah. Next up we have the Ray variant there. Of course, Justice League versus Suicide Squad had its numerous variants. There's that one, and then the Andy Kubrick one right there. Superman had his, and it looks like Aragon the Demon is Superman. I'm not sure what's going on there. And then, of course, the wonderful Trinity had its variant there. Yep. I did pick up a graphic novel this week, and that is Volume 6 of Harley Quinn, black, white, and red all over. This finishes the collection of all of the New 52 Harley Quinn books. So, yep. So nice little addition to my wall. I did end up getting some special orders this week. 2 t-shirts came in. Better late than never. But I did get a Suicide Squad Belle Reeve logo shirt. Pretty cool there. What does it say? Special Security Barracks. So fun times with that one. And then I hadn't had a green shirt in a while, and this one popped up, so I grabbed the Task Force X logo shirt there for Suicide Squad. So, yep. So that's it for the wonderful, wonderful special orders that I had. They all seem to come in around the same time. Now we're on to the to my read list. These are books that I read to stay current and caught up because I can't buy everything, or I don't want to buy everything. First up, we have a Clone Conspiracy tie-in for Amazing Spider-Man at number 23. I don't even remember if I read Amazing Spider-Man number 22. But, yeah. And then, of course, Clone Conspiracy number 4 is out this week. I have not been very... I haven't really liked Clone Conspiracy. I don't know if it's really something that good. But I'm going to finish it up. Next up, we have a new Charles Soule book from Image, and that's Curse Words. No idea what it's about, so I'm going to check it out and see what the big deal is, if there is a big deal. Next up, we have a new Image number 1, and that's The Few. No clue what it is, but I'm going to check it out to see if I like it. Next up is another book from Marvel, and that's Gamora number 2. I was actually surprised how much I actually enjoyed Gamora number 1, so I'm going to continue with that one. Next up is Invincible Iron Man number 3, so we get some more Riri Williams. Hopefully she actually ends up getting into the Iron Man suit that she's been in on every cover for the past few times, but she hasn't quite gotten there yet. Next up is an amazing book that you should pick up. If you have not yet checked it out, the trade for this comes out this week. And that is Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' Kill or Be Killed number 5 is out. Awesome series. I highly recommend it. Really just solid stuff from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Again, like I said, the first volume of the trade paperback for that is out. So if you missed those early issues or didn't snag up second prints or third prints, because yes, it went to multiple printings on all of those issues, I highly recommend snagging up that first trade. Next up, we have a book from Marvel, and that's Monsters Unleashed. I do not know why I picked this up to read it. I have no interest in it, but I'll give it a shot. Maybe it'll catch my interest. We'll see. And finally on the pull list is Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 3. The first 2 issues I really enjoyed, so keep going with that. That's it for the pull list. You can please like, share, and subscribe to the channel here. Leave your comments down in the window below. What you're getting for your pull list, any questions you have, all that stuff. Love to hear from you guys. So go ahead and post it down there in the comments. You are not going to be able to listen to me on the Comic Conspiracy this week because we did not record. Ryan is in Florida visiting family and having fun at Disney World, so we skipped this week, so we will be back next week for the next episode, so stay tuned for that. You can help me and my fellow conspirators out through Patreon at www.patreon.com/comicconspiracy. For as little as $1 a month, you help us with hosting and getting food and other costs and all that stuff, and help us get some materials. So we do appreciate all our Patreon backers, and we do thank you for everything that you give us. We hopefully will have a new roundup episode soon, which is the Patreon only thing from Toby and Charlie, my fellow hosts on the podcast. They do a general TV show kind of review, so not comic book related stuff. So if you are a Patreon backer, you can check that out. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BrockSager. Yeah, that's pretty much it. been very, very busy trying to get back into the regular swing of things. But then we had a holiday on Monday, so we're not back to it yet. But hopefully I'll be able to get some more content up for you soon. I did record some videos of statue openings, so I'm hopefully going to be getting those up this week. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks again for watching, and as usual, I'll see you next week.